Jenny is a victim of sexual harassment whom I know personally. Her boss inappropriately touched her and constantly talked and asked her to do explicit things to him. When she wanted to report him, he threatened with termination. Her co-workers knew this was occurring and said nothing. This is just one example of what is happening to men and women alike. Looking for our safety and the safety of others, we have extensively researched this topic and how we can better the safety of the workplace. We are going to address a continuing problem in the workplace. Sexual harassment is universal and can affect everyone. This issue has been going on for decades. The definition of sexual harassment stated by EEOC.gov, the official website for Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, accessed on November 5, 2015, said, sexual harassment can include unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical harassment of a sexual nature. This affects everyone, but mostly women. Advocates of Human Rights, written on January 2010, proves this by saying, with their findings, approximately 85% of sexual harassment claims made in the U.S. in 2006 were made by women. This shows the frequency of the effects it has on women. Not only does it affect them in this way, it affects them physically, mentally, and emotionally. Advocates of Human Rights, written on January 2010, said the reactions frequently reported by women included anxiety, depression, sleep disturbance, weight loss or gain, loss of appetite, and headaches. This affects not only through the sexual harassment part, but it even can go so far as post-traumatic stress disorder. It affects their personal life and in their work lives. Sexual harassment is harmful, hurtful, and horrible.
So now that you know what sexual harassment is and how it affects people, we are going to impose a potential solution to this problem. A solution to sexual harassment is to impose a stricter punishment on the perpetrator and also bystanders who say and do nothing. Many times the offender goes unpunished, and if they do get punished, usually it's just a slap on the wrist. The offender should be fired, and their employer should be held accountable. Not only would the offender be moved from the environment, but also it would cause the employers to impose stricter rules against sexual harassment. Termination of the offender should occur because many times it's the women who go and leave the workplace. According to the Feminist Majority Foundation, who took a statistic from the National Council for Research on Women in June of 1994, said that women are 9 times more likely to quit their jobs, 5 times more likely to transfer, and 3 times more likely to lose their jobs due to a sexual harassment situation. A second idea would also be to punish the bystanders. Many times they turn a blind eye, and if the victim can't stand up for themselves, this renders them helpless and also creates a hostile environment. If the bystanders were punished, it would help the victim because they would be more likely to stand up for the victim and therefore give them a voice.
Now that we've talked about the solution, we are going to show you the benefits of implementing the solution and the consequences of leaving this problem alone. Without laws and policies against offender, it will continue to be a threat to the safety in the workplace. If there's a call to action for policies against this, it will create more of a safe environment in the workplace. And with these implementations, it will become less of a hostile environment. And for potential victims, it will aid substantially in helping them not to worry because of the policies that will be implemented.
Ignoring sexual harassment can have resounding consequences. According to a Feminist Majority Foundation, who took a statistic from sexual harassment of women in the Fortune 500 in 1988, found that ignoring the problem of sexual harassment can cause the average company up to $6.7 million a year in low productivity, low morale, and employee turnover. An example of this is Bob Filner, who was a former mayor of San Diego. In an article entitled "The High Cost of Sexual Harassment" by Beth Braverman in August of 2013, stated that, on top of the legal bills, the recall incentive to remove Filner from office currently underway could cost taxpayers more than $3 million. This shows that sexual harassment not only affects the offender and the victim, but can also affect other people such as taxpayers. So in conclusion, we should recognize the frequency of this crime because it affects people's lives in many ways. We've considered some solutions to the problem, and if it is not addressed now, it's going to become an acceptable thing to do. We should demand policies to be put into play, and you can do this by contacting your Senator Ben Sass at 402-721-0202 and ask him to give harsher punishment to offenders and bystanders. You can also take up a stand against sexual harassment by speaking out for the victims you see being a victim of sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is not a thing to turn a blind eye on. As stated by Maslow's hierarchy of needs, one of them is safety, and this affects it at its core. We all plan to enter the workplace someday, otherwise we would not be here studying. Sexual harassment is a lurking monster. Don't let it get in the way of achieving your dreams.